Hello and welcome back to my channel. I don't know if anyone can see it, but I'm very close to 500 subscribers. So if you have not subscribed yet and you end up liking the video at all, it would be very helpful and cool if you could go and subscribe to the channel. Anyway, today we are talking about the ick. What is the ick? Why do we get icks? Where do they come from? And is there any way that we can stop them from happening? Those are the big questions for today. So first of all, what is the ick? I think I would describe the ick as the sort of feeling that you get usually in the earlier stages of a relationship when you're kind of still getting to know someone, and it's just the sense that they've done something and suddenly you find them so off-putting and unappealing and just ick, you know? I feel like once you have the ick, you generally lose most, if not all, of the attraction you feel towards this person, and then it kind of never really comes back. And just everything that they do from that point on feels so annoying and so icky. And then when people talk about having icks, they're usually talking about the specific like traits or behaviors that give them this feeling of having the ick, and these can be literally anything. So there's the more obvious ones that a lot of people have, like chewing with your mouth open, but then it can be things like last year on Love Island there was the girl who got the ick because a boy's favorite cheese was brie. Like, that is such a non-thing to me. I think that it's kind of a scale, and some people get the ick a lot easier than other people and have a lot more of these unovercomably off-putting behaviors and traits, and are much more like hyper aware of how these little icks are showing up in relationships, whether this is like consciously looking for reasons to be critical or if it's happening subconsciously and they don't actually realize that they are overanalyzing the people that they are getting to know. I have a lot of theories, honestly, about why some people are more prone to the ick than other people. I feel like something to do with attachment styles, particularly avoidant attachment styles, and also the way you grew up, like the relationships you were exposed to, the relationships that you've had in the past, and also your level of introversion and extroversion, your emotional stability, basically just the big 5 personality traits, I think. And if you don't know how you know you have the ick, it's pretty easy, honestly. You usually will know. If you're feeling like grossed out by this person and the things that they do, and you're getting irritated and annoyed by them so easily all the time, and if you find yourself trying to justify like staying with them, telling yourself, oh, they're really nice, maybe if I just wait things out this feeling will go away, yeah, you might at this point have the ick. Also, I am so interested in hearing what gives other people the ick. So if you have a specific ick, or in the past have had someone do something that gave you the ick, please go and comment what it was. Whether it's something big that they did, or if it was literally just something like you didn't like the way they tied their shoelaces. I swear some of the things that give people the ick are so interesting to me. If you comment one and you want me to try and psychoanalyze it and tell you where it might come from, I can do my best. It won't be legitimate at all. It will literally just be me playing a fun little guessing game based on what I think. Hello, little bug. I don't know what kind of bug that is. And I also don't even know if the camera can pick it up. It's really tiny. But yeah, I will try and psychoanalyze you. I don't think it'll be a very good psychoanalysis. Yeah, there we go. But I'll have fun, I think. Okay, now for what I think is the fun stuff. And that is, what do I think causes people to get the ick? I do not know anything for sure, but I do have a few theories floating around inside my little brain. The first one is that some people have issues that make them not want to be in a serious relationship. So maybe you have commitment issues, or trust issues, or intimacy issues. Maybe you were cheated on or treated really badly in a past relationship, or all of the relationships that you witnessed growing up were unhealthy and made people sad and miserable. All of these things might result in a person subconsciously taking actions to prevent themselves from ending up in any kind of serious committed relationship. So it's basically a sort of a defense mechanism to protect yourself from possibly getting hurt. And it's sort of just saying to them, let me find something wrong with this other person so I have a reason to end the relationship and I have control over how the relationship ends before the other person gets a chance to do this to me. And I think a lot of people wouldn't even realize that they're doing this. They genuinely would be thinking that the other person is to blame, like there's something genuinely wrong with this other person, and they just don't pick up on the fact that there's something underlying going on that's going to be a pattern and it's going to keep repeating itself no matter who the other person ends up being. Also here, I feel like there's something to do with feeling like you don't deserve a healthy relationship, whether that's because of like self-esteem issues or because unhealthy relationships are just the only thing you've ever known and what you're used to. I feel like this would explain why so many things that people get the ick from are essentially just the person being too nice to them, or people who are quite giving in relationships and like to do nice things for them or compliment them a lot more than they're used to, or even just people who are emotionally available and emotionally stable. Unfortunately, these are all icks for me. So that's something for me to get therapy about, I suppose. Like, it's so bad, but my number one ick is literally just when someone likes me and when they show me that they like me, or they tell me that they like me, or they act like they like me. Basically, if someone is not playing some weird little mind game with me, I'm just like, ew, what are you doing right now? Please stop that. Anyway, I think it's probably normal and fine when I do it. An entirely different reason I think the ick might happen is more related to our dating culture and the way we treat and objectify potential romantic partners. Also, if you haven't watched my video on everything I hate about casual dating and hookup culture, I will link that up here for you to go and watch after this one, because it's a fun video. I think just because of social media and like romantic movies, we have these really high expectations of what makes a good partner and a good relationship, and any indication that this isn't true is immediately a turn on. And if you have this subconscious belief that your partner should be perfect or close to perfect, then it kind of makes sense why you would get turned off by such seemingly tiny irrelevant things. And I feel like this is way more of a problem now than it used to be because of how replaceable we view people, due to the fact that we have all this access to other options through like social media or dating apps. It's just like this constant knowledge that if this person isn't perfect, then there's literally 5,000 hot singles in my area waiting to get to know me, so I'll go find someone who doesn't have this ick. But they're always going to have something. I'm telling you that now. That there's going to be something. Basically, I've lost my train of thought here, but I think my point was something about how casual dating culture has sort of caused people to view their partners as like a commodity, and people are being objectified, and because of this they're sort of expected to live up to some perfect ideal, and then when they don't do that because they're people, not objects, suddenly you have the ick. Okay, is there any way to get over the ick? I think probably. I think there are things you can probably try to do to maybe get over it. For one thing, identify where it's coming from and if it's more of a you issue or a them thing that's actually bothering you. If it's something that you can clearly identify as stemming from your own personal commitment or intimacy issues, then working through those issues is probably the best thing that you can do for yourself and for the relationship. I mean, potentially working through them could just magically solve the ick entirely, which would obviously be ideal, but if not, I mean, at least you've worked through them, which is like beneficial for your own sake. But if the thing that is giving you the ick is something that is actually an indication that the relationship just is not right and is not going to work, then maybe in this case it's, I think, fair to just listen to your gut on it and not try to get over the ick. Like, if the ick is about something that you morally disagree on, like maybe they're someone who is kind of rude to waiters and you think that that's icky, then I just think it's fair to end the relationship over something that just gives you that kind of gross feeling about them. Or maybe the ick is something that you know is just incompatible with your longer term goals. Like maybe they really hate animals and you want a lot of pets. Maybe their sense of humour sucks to you and that's something that you think is really important in a partner. I just think if you're getting the ick because there's some sort of mismatch between what you want in a relationship and what this person is doing, then again, I think it's maybe just fair to listen to your gut on that one and potentially end the relationship. But if the ick is something that is literally like a non-issue, something so arbitrary like the fact that their favourite cheese is brie, then it's probably a good idea to figure out where that is actually coming from. Like, why is this random thing such an ick for you? Is it like something to do with social appearances and expectations? I feel like a lot of the icks that I see people talking about are men doing things that aren't traditionally masculine. So I guess that's something to look at in yourself. like your own internalized beliefs about the way people should be acting? Like, is it maybe something that you just think is lame or cringe or embarrassing? And like, why do you feel this way? Is it the fact that you're worried about what other people are gonna think about your partner? Is the reason you view it as an ick based more on the fact that other people perceive it as an ick? I hope that makes sense, what I'm trying to say here. But I just feel like knowing where the icks come from, like why you find it so off-putting, can be really helpful in rationalizing whether or not this is actually something that's important to you, or whether it's logical at all, or whether maybe you're just being kind of like judgy. Also, if you are the kind of person who has super high expectations and standards and expects your partner to meet some sort of near perfect ideal at all times, then perhaps just chill out a bit. I'm not saying drop your standards and accept the bare minimum, but it's also so important to understand that all people and all relationships are gonna have problems. There are gonna be traits and behaviors and situations that you're not gonna like. And honestly, all of these things, to a certain degree, are completely normal and completely healthy in basically all relationships. Like, you are probably never gonna find a person where there is not one single thing about them that bothers you at all. Especially if you're subconsciously always looking for a deal breaker. Like, if you're looking for and focusing on problems, you're gonna find problems. So I think the point here is maybe just to be a little bit gentler with other people, and also acknowledge that you're in no way perfect either. People could probably find a lot of icks in you. Like, I literally have a YouTube channel. I think that that is probably a huge ick for so many people. I'm in no place to judge anyone else. Okay, I know I already asked you to comment what your icks are in other people, but now I really want to know if you recognize any icks in yourself. Please comment if you do know what things you think other people would find to be an ick in you. And just for fun, I'm going to tell you some of mine. No one asked, but I'm going to tell you anyway. That's probably one of them. The fact that even though no one asked, I am going to take the opportunity to talk about myself, because nothing can stop me. One of mine that I know is that I am the worst replier on earth. And I don't just mean like I take hours to reply, I mean I take days. Okay, actually maybe probably weeks, occasionally months. Like, I know that this is an ick. Also, the fact that I am 22 and I have a bedtime for myself, and I get really grumpy if someone tries to keep me up past my bedtime. That's, I'm sure, an ick for some people. The fact that I love astrology and I like to ask people about it, that's probably an ick. The fact that I tweet every single thought that crosses my mind. The fact that my favourite song is Determinate by Lemonade Mouth, and it was my most played song on Spotify last year, and I listened to it 400 times. I can barely cook. Okay, actually I could go on for a bit, but I'm gonna stop here because I don't think I need to hurt my feelings right now on this lovely Wednesday afternoon. My last thought on potentially overcoming the ick is, if the ick is something that isn't super mean, you could potentially talk to them about it. Obviously communication is important in any relationship, but again, only if it's not something mean. But let's use my inability to reply to messages as an example. You could probably have a conversation with someone and say, like, when you reply to me really slowly, I find that quite off-putting. Is there anything we can do to work through this? And then either they will be like, yeah, okay, I understand that, here's a solution that we can agree on, or they might be like, sorry, this is just actually something that I do and I am not gonna fix it, at which point you would have to decide whether or not that was a deal breaker for you. But again, if this is something like their favourite cheese, talking about that is not gonna help, I don't think. But yeah, I definitely think that the talking about it would be quite dependent on what the ick is, as well as who the person is, as well as the way that you are talking about it and the reason you have behind why it is an ick, and how easy it would be to find some sort of mutually happy solution. But yeah, I think it could probably be worth a try for a lot of people. Anyway, that's all from me. I thought this video was fun. I like talking about the ick because it's one of those things that reminds me that there is something quite romantically wrong with me. If you like this video at all, please do go and press the like button. That helps me out. It's actually a huge ick for me and for every person on earth when someone watches my videos and doesn't like them. So I think it's really important that you go and do that. Also, once again, please subscribe if you haven't already. I am nearly at 500 subscribers and I think that that would be kind of fun to have. Oh, and also comment something about your icks, whether that's icks that you have about other people or icks that you have about yourself. Either way, one, the other, both, neither, something, comment. Okay, love you, bye.